How's it going, guys? We're back for another SBT match. This is in the week 10, and we have two coaches in the A League. We have Wichard and his team against Swampy. And let's see the teams that they brought here. It looks like Wichard brought his Mew, Superior, Galvantula, Primarina, Weezing, and Infernape. Well, Swampy brought his Greninja, Garchomp, Rotom, Wash, Delphox, Mega Gallade, and Togetic. So no Celesteela on Swampy's end there, and it doesn't look like Wichard opts to bring his Mega Blastoise this match. So should be an interesting match for sure. Looks like Wichard prepped for that Steela for sure with the Galvantula and the Ape, and looks like Swampy might have figured that Blastoise wasn't coming, but he does still have the Rotom, so he figured maybe Blastoise wasn't too much of an issue, and the Greninja could have something like Grass Knot as well. Gallade could be a big threat in the late game if he sets up a sub or an SD or something like that. Curious to see what Scarfer Swampy opts to bring here, as maybe Wichard has a Scarfer of his own, being the Infernape. Superior could be a nice win con for him in the late game as well. Togetic is still a thing, and very specially defensive, of course, especially with the Violet. So yeah, we'll have to see for sure. Obviously, Swampy could have like hazards on Gran and Garchomp and whatnot, and possibly Defog on two other Mons. But looks like Delphox comes in, and interesting lead, to be honest. But looks like Wichard just opts to go straight for that U-turn, getting off a nice chunk on him, and curious to see what his switching is here. It really is hard to see a switch in to this Delphox besides the Primarina. So that might just have to be who he goes into. But this Delphox does look like it applies a lot of pressure. I'm not too sure. The Mew could be a nice response, honestly. But then again, we don't know this Delphox's spread yet. Maybe Wichard's doing just that. He's calculating what kind of damage that was. Mew comes in. We do see the Psyshock, not doing too much damage. We don't see the leftovers on Mew, and we don't see any kind of item on Delphox either. No Life Orb. It could be Z move for sure. It could have like Z Shadow Ball or something like that, because Mew is a nice response for Delphox. Primarina would have been an interesting switch, but that Psyshock would have done a lot of damage. So now we have to see what Swampy actually decides to bring in on this Mew. Obviously, Greninja is a thing that can come in. So I think Swampy was predicting that Galvantula to lead, because he could have in exchange for maybe getting up webs on Witcher's end, he could have dealt some really nice damage to that Galvantula. But Witcher just opts to lead with that Infernape. We're not too sure if that Infernape is Scarf yet, but the fact that he U-turned kind of reveals a little bit about his set. Now, does Swampy want to stay in and go for a Shadow Ball slash like some kind of setup, or does he want to go into his Greninja, perhaps even the Rotom? Togetic also looks like a very bulky response. In comes the Greninja. We do see a Thunder Punch. It does a lot of damage there, and very nice prediction on Witcher's end there, going for that Thunder Punch, maybe expecting the Greninja to come in, maybe even the Togetic. That could have been a nice bring in there. Now, Swampy does get a free hit off here if he wants to, or he can even go for some hazards. We do see the Z move, and it is the Sub-Zero Slammer. It doesn't do too much, honestly. It does 25%, so that was definitely Z Ice Beam, perhaps for the Serp that wanted to come in. And we see that this Primarina is actually Scarf. So, interesting bring, the Scarf Primarina. I don't exactly know what Swampy wants to bring in here, but Togetic is a very nice bring in, obviously. He does just do that. Not too sure what he can do here, though. He does Nasty Plot, so that could get kind of scary. Does he actually outspeed this Weezing right now? We do see the Taunt, Air Cutter, doing a fair amount of damage there. We'll have to see what this Weezing opts to go for, though. Probably just a Sludge Bomb, yeah. It does do a lot of damage, and Air Cutter getting a crit, doing a hefty amount of damage there. This Weezing I do see another sludge bomb. So Swampy actually just opts to swap out of that Togetic. Now Togetic doesn't, uh, with it being offensive, doesn't really switch in properly to Wichard's offense. Weezing being down to 13% now. Swampy can go for rocks here, or he can try setting up with this. He does go for he does exchange rocks for a burn, and I think maybe Swampy was okay with that, but rocks being on Wichard's side is kind of problematic. Um, a burn is very nice for sure. Now that he got that, we do see the Rotom coming in, and we do see another Sludge Bomb. So, and we do see another Poison. So this Weezing putting in a lot of work right now with poisons, burns. He was able to stop the Togetic sweep. So, curious what this Rotom wants to do. Maybe just a Volt Switch, just to get some initiative. Serp comes in. We do see the Delphox coming in now. So, um, not too sure what this Delphox's item is. We know that it's not Z move anymore. Greninja is already gone. Looks like they're having some trouble right here. If the Serp is isn't the right ability maybe, but Delphox is in here right now and it's looking to get a big hit off on something. We do see the Fire Blast and it just KOs the Serp, and we know that this Delphox is actually scarfed. Um, Unless the Serp wasn't max speed, but Uh, to be fair, that makes a lot of sense that this Delphox's scarf. That means it could have been Trick. Uh, I really think that I'm not too sure now because just what they're saying in the chat. I'm trying to go off what I see here. That Serp, if it wasn't max speed, it probably didn't outspeed the Delphox if it wasn't the right nature. But unless this is this Delphox's scarf and it has something like Trick to maybe get a trick off on the Primarina or something like that. It could have made a lot of sense. He could also have like Grass Knot and stuff for the Blastoise, but interesting that he wanted to go with the Scarfer within Delphox because it doesn't actually outspeed stuff um, like Scarf and Fernape and whatnot. But maybe he was expecting Ape not to be Scarf. I don't exactly know if it is, but we do see the Primarina come in. We know these two are both preemptively they're scarfed. I know that Primarina is. We'll have to see what Swampy wants to switch into a Moonblast right here. Here comes the Rotom. Do see a Moonblast. It's gonna bring the Rotom down. Like I think Swampy was just sacking it at this point because it doesn't really have the best switch into a Scarfed Moonblast right here, especially with that Togetic being so low. Um, and down goes 2 Mon. So in comes the Togetic now. Might try to get off a Roost. Might try to go for an Acid Plot, but that would be um, way too ballsy on Swampy's part. We do see another Moonblast. It does take him down to 30, and we're going to see this Roost kind of stallish play here. Moonblast is doing a decent amount. In comes the Mew. We do see another Roost. This could get a little bit scary if they both want to start setting up or dealing some damage to each other. We did see the Thunder Punch on Mew, and we didn't see leftovers. So in comes the Garchomp. We do see a Swords Dance coming off the Mew. This Chomp is scarfed. I'm not too sure exactly what he plans to do here, but Mew could have like Ice Punch and stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see what this Mew wants to go for. Um, this Garchomp could outspeed, obviously. We know that it's not Z move. He could go for an Outrage right here, but again, he's burnt. So if Witcher just wants to kind of scout out what this Garchomp wants to do, he might just go for a Roost. If he has something like that, we did see the SD and the Thunder Punch, so I'm not sure if he has room for Roost. See EQ, it really does nothing. We do see a Roost, so we know that his last move is probably well, his last move could be anything, but he didn't. The fact that he didn't go for Ice Punch right there. We do see another Swords Dance, so this is getting kind of scary. This Mew is setting up all over Swampy's team. Another Swords Dance, so this Mew is at +6 right now, and maybe Swampy looking for a crit or something. Um, and who knows exactly. Do see a Zen Headbutt, obviously taking that rough skin damage. Maybe Swampy needed that extra damage on Mew to kind of KO with something else here. If Glade wants to come in right now, Delphox actually comes in. He's probably going to fire off a Shadow Ball if I had to guess. And this is Scarf, so the Shadow Ball doing a lot of damage. We do see a Roost, so maybe Witcher thinking he can stall out this Delphox, but of course if it gets like Spadef drops or a crit, it could be kind of scary. Thing is that when Wichard has to kind of KO this Delphox because Gallade is going to come in afterwards and definitely try to revenge. And seeing the Scarf Primarina though, I'm pretty sure it just wins. So we do see the Thunder Punch KO the Delphox, Wichard probably just thinking that it's better to um, just sacrifice this Mew now. We know that this Gallade can't set up on Mew because Mew's at +6 and it's going to definitely KO the Gallade. We haven't seen, we have seen all his moves so far. So Gallade, if it wants to set up here, I don't think that's a play because Witcher's going to just fire off his Zen Headbutt right now or a Thunder Punch and try to KO this Gallade. So very offensive match from this Mew right now. Mew, Swampy, unfortunately didn't really have too much responses. Like he did have the Scarf Delphox, which even if it wasn't Scarf would have outsped the Mew anyways. We'll have to see what this Gallade wants to do. I don't think swapping out the Mew is the play though. I think really just taking his kill is the best way. So Gallade just goes for the Ice Punch. He has revealed the Ice Punch. We know that Primarina is Scarfed, so it can come in here if it wants to. Obviously, the Togetic in the back is still very much a threat. So we're probably going to see a Moonblast. I think Wichard really just wanted to force that Gallade out. And in comes the Galvantula now. We do see the Nasty Plot getting rid of that special attack drop. And Swampy has to take a hit here right now. This Thunder / Volt Switch. I'm not sure if it KOs. It actually does KO. It is Life Orb, and we're gonna see Gallade come in. I don't know if he can set up right here. He might have to though, just to try to get back in this match. The thing is that Primarina is Scarfed, so if he sets up and takes a hit, Primarina is going to come in afterwards and KO. So I don't know how Swamp can get out of this. If the only way I think he can win is if Wichard kind of swaps out. He doesn't actually swap out. He doesn't set up either. So that was probably the correct play. In comes the Primarina to Scarf Moonblast, and that's going to KO, and that's going to be the end of the match. So Wichard does take the match 3-0, and a very nice match, very quick. It came down to who could set up first, and Wizard was able to set up with that Mew. So very nice plays there on both coaches' end. So GG to both coaches.